I'm sure you heard, but the United States government did not shut down. Republicans were able to get their act together enough at the last moment to get through a continuing resolution, meaning an extension of funding has now been signed into law by President Biden, which means we're going to potentially have this exact same debacle in 45 days. But for now, the government is funded, and Kevin McCarthy decided to go along and push for, eventually get passed, an option that Democrats had to go along with for it to get passed, meaning the fear Kevin McCarthy has had, what we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks, his choice to do something that Democrats could get on board with is going to potentially cost him his job, at least if Matt Gaetz has anything to say about it. And Matt Gaetz has lots to say on this, as we'll look at. So right now, we're watching as Kevin McCarthy went along with the more pragmatic option, and many Republicans did as well. Matt Gaetz is now charging forward with his attempt to oust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. We'll look at that in just a moment. But first, hear from Hakeem Jeffries on the fact that a government shutdown was averted.
The American people have won. The extreme MAGA Republicans have lost. It was a victory for the American people and a complete and total surrender by right-wing extremists who throughout the year have tried to hijack the Congress.
Absolutely correct. So moving on from that, Matt Gaetz, after we got news that the government shutdown was averted, went on State of the Union with Jake Tapper to say this.
To vacate tomorrow?
I do intend to file a motion to vacate against Speaker McCarthy this week. I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid. I think we need to move on with new leadership that can be trustworthy. Look, the one thing everybody has in common is that nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy. He lied to Biden. He lied to House conservatives. He had appropriators marking to a different number altogether. And the reason we were backed up against this shutdown politics is not a bug of the system, it's a feature. Kevin McCarthy's goal was to make multiple contradictory promises, to delay everything, back us up against shutdown politics, and at the end of the day, blow past the spending guardrails he'd agreed to.
So it will be Matt Gaetz's goal over the next number of weeks to attempt to oust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. Now, I will predict pretty confidently it'll be unsuccessful. It seems like there are enough Republicans who are on board with Kevin McCarthy as Speaker that this is unlikely to work, unless Democrats take this as an opportunity to go along with Gaetz' attempt here and assist in his ousting of Kevin McCarthy. Because if he files a motion to vacate, there are multiple checkpoints where it could get hindered. You would really need a lot of support to get that through. Now, Democrats will have to weigh, yes, there's a benefit to ousting Kevin McCarthy, but also, are you risking someone else who's worse? Republicans rallying around, or the uncertainty of governance because of that? There are things to be weighed. We'll see how it all plays out. But once again, we're watching on full display the inability of this House Republican caucus to organize and to seriously govern. It's just the chaos caucus. And then here was Kevin McCarthy's response to Matt Gaetz's threat or promise to attempt to oust him.
There is a lot to get to with you. I want to start, though, on the news this morning from Congress.
Which I should note, eventually you would need a majority of the House to vote to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, which is why it's unlikely.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, who says he's going to seek a motion to vacate. He's going to try to oust you as Speaker of the House.
Well, that's nothing new. He's tried to do that from the moment I ran for office. Look.
Well, this time he says he's going to keep going. May not get there before the 15th ballot, but it took 15 for Kevin McCarthy. He says he's coming for you. Can you survive?
Yes, I'll survive. You know, this is personal with Matt. Matt voted against the most conservative ability to protect our border, secure our border. He's more interested in securing TV interviews than doing something. He wanted to push us into a shutdown, even threatening his own district with all the military people there who would not be paid, only because he wants to take this motion. So be it, bring it on, let's get over with it, and let's start governing.
So bring it on, there is the notable quote. acting confident. Now, I have 0 or 0 minus 3 respect for Kevin McCarthy and also Matt Gaetz. So here, I think you can correctly say Kevin McCarthy is accurately assessing Matt Gaetz's ambition here. It's not out of principle. It's not out of an actual concern with the lack of leadership on the part of Kevin McCarthy, which I think Kevin McCarthy has been a bad leader, but for different reasons than Matt Gaetz. Instead, it is for clicks. It is for attention. And Matt Gaetz is getting all these interviews, and there's reporting indicating he wants to run for governor next time around in Florida. And if that means he'll be challenging DeSantis is yet to be seen. But this is a chance for him to really get that name in the minds of all of MAGA and lots of Republican voters. Whether that's good or not based on what he's doing here, again, yet to be seen. But it's working just from the standpoint of attention, and that's unfortunate. And yet another indication of the flawed nature of our current political reality, at least as it pertains to the GOP. Then here was Matt Gaetz saying this about Kevin McCarthy today on the House floor.
Having to take the Senate's plus up in Ukraine money, that the Speaker of the House was actually cutting a side deal to bring Ukraine legislation to this floor with President Biden and House Democrats. So let me get this straight. To extend Joe Biden's spending and Joe Biden's policy priorities, the Speaker of the House gave away to Joe Biden the money for Ukraine that Joe Biden wanted. It is going to be difficult for my Republican friends to keep calling President Biden feeble while he continues to take Speaker McCarthy's lunch money in every negotiation.
Ooh, brutal. And it's music to my ears. Aside from the fact that this chaos is hurtful to the American people, if we could have effective governance across the board, that would be beautiful. But because the Republican Party is what it is, at least this division will make them less effective at attacking what are so often actual good priorities on the part of the Democratic Party from the standpoint of their policy ambitions. And it's crazy to see Matt Gaetz in this weird way giving Biden credit for being better at negotiating than Kevin McCarthy because of his current opposition to Kevin McCarthy. And it is true. It's in line with what we talk about with all these Biden crime family conspiracy theories too. It's strange how their narratives about Biden contradict. He's senile. He doesn't know where he is. He can't walk one step. He can't get through one sentence. And also he's a mastermind criminal who has done all these things, but we just can't find the evidence of them because he's so good at covering them all up, and he's leading the most prominent crime family in American history. But again, we can't find the evidence because he's so good at suppressing it. And he also is weaponizing the entire government against conservatives and Donald Trump. And he also was able to mastermind, again, without evidence being leaked, the greatest election stealing operation in the history of the world. But also he's senile, doesn't know where he is, and can't get through one sentence. And so here, those same characteristics they attribute to Biden don't align with him being able to, according to a lot of people within MAGA, out negotiate and outmaneuver Kevin McCarthy. And also, just to continue diving into this drama, CNN reports, there's an excerpt being highlighted here, I think, from Media. One Republican lawmaker pointed to the ongoing Ethics Committee investigation into Gaetz, warning if he wasn't cleared, he could get expelled by those who want him gone. Quote, "We want him out." This is anonymous. The member said, the investigation is reportedly looking at allegations that Gaetz may have engaged in sexual misconduct, illicit drug use, or other misconduct. And so if this ethics investigation inside of Congress doesn't clear Matt Gaetz, some of the moderate Republicans who are annoyed with Matt Gaetz might use it as an opportunity to oust him because they're so annoyed with him. And maybe Kevin McCarthy is scheming to make that happen behind the scenes. Who knows? Just speculation, but very interesting. Again, the Chaos Caucus. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show and get a bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.